problem number 7, we're asked to simplify the expression. In our expression, 9 divided by negative 4 plus 4i, we have to understand that I is the square root of negative 1, which means we have an irrational value in our denominator. In order to eliminate the I from our denominator, because we have 2 terms in the denominator, I'm going to multiply this fraction by the conjugate of the denominator. Notice that the conjugate is not an opposite. It does not simply switch all of the signs. The conjugate keeps the terms. It simply changes whether there were addition between the 2 terms or subtraction between the 2 terms. I can distribute through my numerator, and I can use the calculator to evaluate the denominator more easily. Negative 36 minus 36i over 32. Something to pay attention to. If my denominator had still had an irrational value, that would have been an indicator that I didn't use the correct conjugate. All of these terms have a common factor. I reduce them by dividing out their common factor of 4. Negative 9 minus 9a, 9i over 8. Problem number 9. We're asked to factor completely. So my first factoring step I'm going to use here, n cubed minus 14n squared plus 48n, I recognize that I have a common factor of n in each of those terms. I factor out my common factor of n. I'm now left with a quadratic still inside the parentheses. My initial thought is to try to use reverse FOIL to factor the quadratic equation into the product of 2 binomials. We end up with a factored expression of n times n minus 6 times n minus 8. If you're wondering where those factors came from, I knew that my 2 constant terms, the negative 6 and negative 8, must have to multiply to be positive 48. They also needed to combine to be negative 14. Something that I find helpful is to create a list of all the values that could possibly multiply to be 48. From that list, I simply had to do guess and check to determine which of them could also combine to be a negative 14.